right, everybody. Welcome to our session here. We've been doing these for a little bit now. Of course, we took a little pause for a couple months and, bringing these back, talking about what is going on with QuickBooks Desktop. So just wanted to make sure that we update you guys on what's been going on. I want to be very clear, first and foremost, that QuickBooks Desktop, as far as I've heard, is still not going away. That was one of the responses I got so much from our emails. QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise is not going away. And we have some good news to share with you around that product today. So I'm going to kick things off. A couple desktop updates. So in July 2024, we did have a mid-year release. As you guys know, mid-year releases are one of my most favorite things that QuickBooks started doing, because that means we don't have to install a fresh product. We just have to install an update. And I love it whenever we get to have brand new features without having to do a fresh install of QuickBooks throughout the entire organization. Now, some people might say updates are just as annoying, but I feel like we always have way more problems when we have to, install 2024 when we had 2023 previously. Whereas these mid-year releases, I feel like tend to have less problem. So good news, I'm going to talk about those mid-year releases right now. There will not be a 2025 released in September, October. If you guys were on my What's New webinar last year, I talked about this, that with the desktop products, Intuit has recognized and realized that one of their biggest calls to support is installation help. So they are deleting the need for installation help by not releasing new products, which is, most softwares don't do that. They just release the changes, right? And as a product update, as opposed to having to install a brand new version. So pretty normal stuff there. The other thing, so as I already mentioned, we don't have to do a fresh install. So new features should be in product if you're in 2024 and in the newest release. So let's talk about these new features. I'm going to do this in product, okay? And I have a lot to cover today, so I apologize if I'm jumping around. So there are 3 new features that were released in July. The first one, which is something that I am just like, oh, I was so excited about, is the inventory turnover report, okay? So inventory turnover by item. All right, so just going to pop into this report in one of my sample files that thinks it's 2028. You guys, I'm sure, are used to these sample files. And I do have an Excel spreadsheet in the slide deck where I'll show you the math of what I'm talking about here. But basically what we have, right, is we have an inventory part. They have the description. They have the category, which if you're not using categories, those are very powerful. We have the turnover ratio, the turnover days. We have this, turnover ratio and turnover days for all those CFOs out there and all the accounting people over there. I'm sure that they're very excited about that. And I do think that this is important to look at these things for sure. But they put the last sale date in here. That is a massive thing that we've been asking for so long, is what is the last sell date? So that is awesome. So you can go through and see like, oh, my last sell date is never. Why do I have this product? Okay. They have the cost per unit, the sales price, coin on hand, the reorder points are in here, minimum and maximum. The cost of goods sold during this time frame. What is the closing stock amount and what is the opening stock amount? How many purchases? And what is the average inventory? Okay, so very cool report. In my slide deck here, you can kind of follow through and see, here's the report, and here's where we're talking about what is the average inventory, right? So the opening stock, closing stock sum, average inventory is that divided by 2. Okay, then the turnover ratio is the cost of goods sold divided by the average inventory. Then the turnover days is how many days are there in a year divided by the turnover ratio. Okay, so you guys can follow along with their math that they provided. But again, all of this stuff, I think it's something that people have been asking for years, and it's amazing that they built this report in. I also think that it is amazing that they put in the last sell date. When you go in and customize this, you can see over here what are the different filters that you can add. So like they don't have the last sell date as one of the filters. They don't have like closing stock as some of the filters. So you're going to have to drop these into Excel to do some of the work around it. But it's here, which is super exciting. And I know that the developers for Enterprise they asked a lot of questions around this. So I'm very excited that they got this released. The next one that we have is, I'm not going to go through all of the steps on this, just so that I'm just making you guys aware, right? That they did add prepayments on estimates. So if you guys watch my What's New, we did add prepayments on sales orders before, and that just allows you to take a payment at the estimate level, right? So if I come in here to create estimates, one of the things that I have up here is receive payments, okay? There are a couple weird glitchy things around the prepayment applied area. So if you have put the estimate in the system and then you apply a prepayment and then you create an invoice and apply the prepayment to that invoice, it doesn't show that the prepayment is still applied to this proposal, right? So there are some things to be aware of, which we go through in some of our other trainings, but wanted to make you guys aware that they added it here. I actually was not a huge fan of them spending the time and effort of adding prepayments and estimates. I know that probably for the people who need it, right, in construction, they don't go to sales order, basically, right? But we actually here coach people to do estimates and convert to sales order when the customer says yes. So we encourage the use of both. So my feedback was my customers probably don't need it at the estimate level. And I think it would be confusing to have it at both, because you're probably not going to, as a company, use it at both estimate and sales order. You're going to use it at one or the other. So just leave it at sales order and let's do some dev somewhere else. That was my feedback, but you know, they don't always listen to me. All right, and then the other one that happened is that we do have on reports, we can have print report with grid lines as a choice, and this was actually rolled out. The first two are enterprise only. The first two things that I showed you are enterprise only. This was rolled out. I don't test Pro and Premier anymore, but I heard that it was rolled out through Pro, Premier, and Enterprise. And I was definitely told that we would not be having any releases except for security releases into Pro and Premier. But this one I heard or was told, and if anybody wants to test and let me know if I'm right or wrong, I was told that it was rolled out to all desktop SKUs, not just QuickBooks Enterprise. Okay, and so what does this look like? The other big announcement that we have is something that Fourlane has made sure that we made available to our customers is the QuickBooks Desktop update for accessibility and speed. So we do have a product that is a web-based product that sits on top of QuickBooks. How this product is, how you decide, right? When do I use this? When do I use this interface? So it is an interface sitting in the cloud that has a similar look and feel to QuickBooks, so you don't feel lost. You can do all of the things that you do in QuickBooks, and I'll show you, not all the things, but a lot of the things that you do in QuickBooks, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. But a lot of times people say to me, well, why would I be using this product except for, you know, accessibility, speed, etc. And when would I be in QuickBooks and functioning? So the way that we describe it is QuickBooks still houses the core accounting functions, things like bank recs, journal entries, connecting to the bank, meaning bank feeds, right? Payroll, right? Those kinds of things. The people who are shifting to using the web-based interface for accessibility and speed are the people who are usually more the sales reps in the company or the purchasing agents in the company, and they are focused here in doing stuff because, right, when a lot of our customers, we work mostly with QuickBooks Enterprise clients. Our average QuickBooks Enterprise client is 8.4 users of QuickBooks Enterprise. And we all know as you creep above those 10, 12, 15 users, Enterprise can get a little bit slower. So we're providing a way for people to put information, data entry information into a system without having to go log into QuickBooks. directly. So how does it work? You have a web-based access. Of course, we would have a subdomain that is yours. Mine is Madams for Marjorie Adams, right? Not because we have a client called Madams. When I come in here, I can go to my customer center. It has a very similar look and feel with QuickBooks, so that when we have user adoption, there isn't a massive training that is necessary for people to do things. I come in here and add a customer, so we're going to go ahead and create a customer. Now, before I do this, let me just show you in my QuickBooks file over here, I do not have a customer. I'll show you all customers just so you know. I don't have a customer down here called webinar customer. So I'm going to go create that customer just so you guys know and see. So I have my webinar customer that I am creating, and it's a tab field. Joey Smith. Just like anything else in QuickBooks, when you come down here to this, you still have to put in the customer name in the first line. Austin, Texas, 77777, and say save. Okay, and you have the other tabs just like you have inside of your QuickBooks file. Now, oops, let me get into the one QuickBooks file here. So we have a sync that happens behind the scenes, and that sync is happening every 10 seconds. The sync is something that is owned by our Fourlane, and so that sync happens behind the scenes every 10 seconds. You can see it just updates every boom, 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 popping through everything, and then it all connects down into QuickBooks. Inside of here as well, once you have created the customer, oops, I guess I hadn't saved it, there we go. Once you have created a customer, there it is, my webinar customer came across, you can go in here as well and do the things like create a new estimate, create a new sales order, invoice, whatever it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and create the estimate in here. Again, very similar look and feel, so the training is not very hard when our clients transition over to this, but we have a estimate in here for 2125. I can go ahead and say save, and now hopefully I'll beat it down here, right? Because the sync is so fast, sometimes I don't beat it. There's our estimate that just popped right in there. So accounting doesn't feel like they're losing any data, but accessibility is there for the people who don't want to have to log into QuickBooks to do simple things like create an estimate, create a invoice, enter a purchase order. It's just a easier way, more accessible way, faster way for customers to access their QuickBooks data. And of course, even if I created the estimate here in QuickBooks, I would still have the ability to see that estimate up here inside of the CX product. So I can go in and look at history on a customer as well. Some of the things that we've done with our big enterprise clients as well is that we have relieved the QuickBooks Desktop product of their non-posting transactions. You guys might have seen some emails around that. So get rid of sales orders, purchase orders, etc., out of the QuickBooks Desktop file, because that'll just speed it up anytime we can get rid of anything, right? And we house those transactions instead up here. So the sales orders will sit up here, and you always have access to the sales orders. Of course, you always have access to a backup in the QuickBooks Desktop file as well, but it just makes it, again, accessibility, speed, right? Kind of more modern technology. All right, so we wanted to share that update with you guys as well. And you've heard me say it enough times here. Continue to use the QuickBooks Desktop product first and foremost, because I know a lot of people have been questioning, is desktop going to be around? Our answer is yes. And then you can boost speed and improve accessibility with this cloud user interface. All right. I have so many questions. I'm going to get to questions towards the end because I do want to hop through a couple of these things. This is pricing for the web-based experience as well. Up to 4 users is $199 a month. Premium is $399. Enterprise is $999. And some people might react to that and say $999 a month, but we have a whole price comparison tool where we show that it is significantly cheaper than some of the hosting options that people have to rely on. And for some of the largest clients, right, the accounting departments, they didn't get to have hosting because they had 15 users and we didn't want to pay for 15 users of hosting. Well, now when we can shift some of those users into the CX product, mostly the accounting users can get hosting, which has been great because they want to be able to work from home too. Okay, some news. So this is like the primary thing. So I want to show you guys the what's new first, right? Because I wanted to build up trust. Like, hey, there are new things coming out around desktop. There are new things coming out around desktop. But here are the things that you're going to hear coming out here soon, or maybe have already heard. And so I just want to make sure that you guys are hearing these things from us and have the ability to ask us questions. We will get on a call with you as individuals. We want to make sure that people are feeling comfortable with continuing to be supported in the QuickBooks brand and in their products and what, the what's next for your company, because of course we all rely on it heavily. So first and foremost, the QuickBooks Pro and Premier stop sale. So what does a stop sale mean? As far as what I interpret what Intuit means by that is they're not going to sell new licenses of QuickBooks Pro and Premier anymore. It's also Mac for Mac and also Enhanced Payroll as a standalone product. They're not going to sell those anymore. The original stop sale was on 7/31 of 24. It has now been extended because as Intuit feedback was, we heard you is what I heard them say. They extended it to 9/30. Now, I have been saying that we need to consolidate the desktop products for years. And if you guys have heard me on previous webinars say this, I am very excited about this. A lot of people are nervous about it, and I understand the price. We'll talk about pricing. The pricing side stinks, yes. But the part that is exciting about this is when it comes to dev. Because historically, QuickBooks Pro and Premier are considered QuickBooks Desktop. So when you hear desktop is going away, they mean QuickBooks Pro and Premier, right? The stop sale is happening on Pro and Premier. When we're talking about QuickBooks Enterprise, that is considered a different. They don't like when you talk to somebody at Intuit, desktop does not mean enterprise, right? It means Pro and Premier basically, which is confusing to us. They're all desktop. So Enterprise is not going anywhere. And the exciting part to me, and why I've been saying we need to consolidate this for years, also the accountants, I don't know what's happening necessarily with the accountants fully yet, but the accountants was also treated as a separate product, right? Even though all of these three products have the same, right? All Pro Premier, that bucket, all accountants, that bucket, and all enterprise, that bucket, they all have the same things in them. They're the same back ends. They're just, it's very much similar, but they had competing dev teams. So when enterprise would release something, Pro and Premier would say, we want it too. And I like that they consolidated it because I'm hoping we'll have a more centralized vision around this product. And that's what I've been seeing over the last couple of years since they've been kind of talking about doing this. So I'm excited about it. I know it does seem scary on the price level alone. It seems very scary, but I'm hoping that the consolidation of vision around this product will help us out a little bit. So what does this mean for the current Pro and Premier, the people on Pro Premier Plus? Their licenses will stay active. That does not mean that you will not be able to access Pro and Premier anymore. The price is changing, and I'll go into pricing here in a minute, but it does not mean as of 9/30 that Pro and Premier Plus will not work anymore. It just means no new licenses of Pro and Premier Plus will be sold. Okay. Now, the writing's on the wall. I feel like I don't think anybody would think I'm nuts to say my expectation is the next step is you have to go to Enterprise or QBO, right? That's going to be their next push in consolidation. Okay. Now, I did hear for the first time in several years this spring, I had Intuit come to me directly and say, I need you to sell more enterprise. That is the first time I have heard that in years, and I was very excited about it. It did give me a revital, oh, thank goodness, they're talking about enterprise again, so that's exciting to me. So what is happening though around enterprise, which is different and maybe not so exciting, again, this is all related to price. It has nothing to do with product necessarily. So after October 1st, new licenses will no longer be allowed to receive a lifetime discount. So if you call Intuit and you buy a new license of QuickBooks Enterprise, you will no longer be able to attach the 20% off for life that we have had since, I don't know, the beginning of time. That will no longer be available, the lifetime discount, okay? And for 30 years, as you can see here, it was up to 12.5%. Also, this is a big one. On existing licenses that make a change to their license. Now, I am asking, I haven't had my meeting yet with Intuit around like license and subscriptions and exactly what this means. So I will fill you in on our next meeting, which this is a 3-part series as of right now. On our next meeting, I'll fill you in on exactly what it means. Does it mean that when you make a change, you are going to be issued a new license? Are you going to be issued a new subscription? So I don't know what that quite means, but if you make a change after October 1st, if you had the 20% discount or for up to 10 users or the 12.5% discount for up to 30 users, we will no longer be able to reattach those to your subscription. Okay. Now, again, in the grand scheme of things, for most companies, does it stink? Yes. Is the price going up? Yes. I feel like that is happening pretty much everywhere in our lives right now, right? So, okay, so let's look at what that means for price. QuickBooks Desktop Pro, so people who are on Pro Plus, and I leave in here just because maybe a little bit. I don't do it to make people mad, all right? But I do it a little bit to look at, like, this is what it used to be. A Pro 1 user was $350 a year, right? That's what it used to be. Now it's $999 a year. My feedback, everybody looks at this $999 a year is like, oh my gosh, a 285% growth for a Pro 1 user. My feedback is, oh, we had it good for way too long and we were taking advantage. There's no way you should be able to run your business on $350 a year, right? I mean, that's kind of crazy. That's a lot. That's not very much money. Now, going into Premier, you can see some of the changes as well. Premier 1 user was $549. Right now, it's $949. In the future state, it's going to be $13.99, 147% price hike on those 1 users. So it is quite a big jump if you look at like the 47%, but in the grand scheme of things, $400 a year, right, in difference on the software that runs your company. And I say this because Fourlane has worked since 2018 to find alternative products for our clients. And we've learned over the last several years, I mean, we represent Acumatica, we represent NetSuite, we've done things with Sage products, we represent Xero, we represent a lot of other alternatives, lots of apps, right? We work with a lot of apps that connect. We obviously work with QBO as well. And it is very hard to replace this desktop product. It is very hard. And so the price point of thinking about doing a conversion to another software, right? I mean, it's going to be grossly more than the price point difference here. So I think Intuit has realized that they had quite a bit of wiggle room. But one of the things that will be interesting is when they roll these price points up is to continue to see how much desktop is chipping away, desktop revenues are chipping away at or staying kind of more level with QBO revenues in the future, right? Because we still have a lot of desktop users out there. Okay, and then I just, for fun, had the comparison across all products here. And this is MSRP, of course, because that's all we're going to have. So Pro 1 user is going to be $999, Premier $14.99, Silver, or $13.99, sorry, Silver $14.81. So $82 difference between Premier and Silver. And I think that, you know, these are just going to continue to creep closer and closer together. Enterprise Gold, $19.22, so a little bit hop up. This is the one that includes payroll, the enhanced payroll, which you cannot buy standalone anymore. And again, if you need to see that buying it through Gold is actually a better price than buying it through Pro and Premier plus Enhanced, we have a price comparison tool for you guys that you can take a look at. And then, of course, Enterprise Platinum, which is where all the fun inventory, which is my world, sits. Okay. So again, future state, MSRP is that's all that's available for Pro and Premier. It's been that way for a little bit. You will not be able to buy Pro and Premier anymore after October 1st. Silver, Gold, and Platinum, as of right now, there will not be a lifetime discount offered anymore. I don't know yet. I'm hoping by the next one we'll see if any promos at all are going to be offered as well. And if this is Intuit trying to squeeze us and say, okay, maybe people are staying in QuickBooks Desktop because of price, right? Maybe they're not going to QBO because of price, which could be the case for some people, maybe, right? Especially if you're multi-entity and things like that. But if price is the reason, I would be very surprised. Most of our customers cannot leave this product because of features. Features. Okay. All right, so again, if should we move to QuickBooks Enterprise? We've talked about this before. We can do a comparison on, what does it look like? How many employees you have? Should I stay in Pro? What happens if I move to QBO? We have all these little pricing tools that we can do for you. Also can do the CX demo if you guys want to take a look at that, moving some of the users into a cloud-based access. Actually, some of our people who are just like 4-user licenses, they actually want to use CX just because they don't want to have to log into hosting, log into QuickBooks, do the things, log out. It's just accessibility. Always, we can still approach, should I move to QuickBooks Online? QuickBooks Online is getting better. They are building out that product more and more. They had revenue recognition added. They added some fixed asset features. There are things that it's getting better. It's not a full replacement yet of the desktop still, right? We don't have sales orders, still only FIFO inventory valuation, no build assemblies at all, stuff like this, right? So we can do migration testing if you want to. We can do sandbox environments to see if you guys want to, and then talk about options for conversion. So QuickBooks Online is not off the table. It is still the second most used product with all of our customer base. It's going to be QuickBooks Online, obviously, but we still are moving people from online back to desktop all day long, every day. And it is the worst thing to have to say that, they talked to somebody and they said, oh, I have to move from desktop to online. And then they find out that online doesn't have the features that they expected and have to go back. It is painful. So definitely give us a call before doing that. QBO is having some price changes as well. So it's not just desktop getting that love, although it's a little bit smaller. But I feel like QBO had price changes just a couple months ago too, maybe September last year. I don't know. I feel like it's September. So Simple Start's going up by $5, Essential is going up by $5, Plus is going up by $9, and Advanced is going up by $35, and that's per month. Right? So $35 per month differential. Okay. All right, let me get to some of these questions. If you guys have questions, let's see. Options for conversion for files that are over 750 targets. So Ian, it depends. One of the things in our CX product that we have is we do have this little dashboard where you can go in and see oh, it's here now. They just moved it on me. I forgot. You can go in and see what right is causing the weight in your file. So as example, if it's all sales orders or a lot of sales orders and the transaction lines are sitting on sales orders, we can go in and delete those first. Purchase orders, estimates, get rid of those. Those are non-posting transactions. So that's something that we can attempt to do. Also, talk to you about why we're considering online as well, because if you want web-based access, sometimes this might be easier. So I don't have a good just one answer for you, but could be start a new file. We just don't know, right? We don't know what is the weight, what is causing the over 750 1,000 targets. All right. How does this affect the ProAdvisor subscriptions? The ProAdvisor subscriptions, this is not affecting. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what your question is there, Dwayne. I'm not sure. Like the ProAdvisor pricing, I'm not sure what the question is there. But so the ProAdvisor lifetime discount is the same lifetime discount that we were offering our customers, and that is also going away. So ProAdvisors will also not be able to offer a lifetime discount on Enterprise to their clients anymore. All right. I'm sorry, there's a lot of questions popping in, so I'm trying to. Is the price for QBO per company file? Yes. So that is where QBO can get quite pricey compared to desktop as well. The price that I was showing in here on this slide, this is per company file per month. Okay, QuickBooks Desktop for Mac will also be discontinued just like the Pro and Premier. I don't talk about Mac as much because it is such a small user base, but you know, the Mac went away at one point and somehow they got it to come back because so many people, I mean, Intuit generally listens to people complain, right? And they react to a lot of complaints. But Mac got brought back. Can somebody do that for point of sale? I would love it if point of sale would come back, please. Okay. All right, so we have a couple questions coming in around the CX product. Where are the QuickBooks Enterprise books housed? Do you have to have a virtual desktop or you can access? Yeah, so no, with the CX product, you can house it in a like a Skyline. We partner with Skyline for our clients who want to host, or you can do it local. So we literally have customers that, you know, their virtual office, and they had 2 laptops set up in their virtual office, right, where they would log in and access the laptop to access the QuickBooks file because they didn't want to have it hosted. So what is happening now is that we're just keeping the QuickBooks desktop file on the one laptop, right, and then everybody else is using CX and it's syncing into that one laptop. I purchased the Pro version a while ago, July 2022, but I haven't activated the license yet. Can I still activate it? Yeah. Yes, you can. You've been paying for it though for 2 years, right? So that's a lot for not using it. So definitely wouldn't do that. Maybe you can talk to our team about that. To be clear, QBO pricing is per company file. There isn't a per user. There is not a per user price. It is per company file. They don't have a per user price. So when you're paying for advanced, but there are per users, like some of them only allow you to go up to 5 users, and I can get you guys that comparison. But this is not $99 per user per month, no. Okay, I have so many questions. Okay, I'll keep going for a couple minutes here, and then if let me just scroll to the top to kind of work my way down. I can hear you. Yay. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Gail. So what about QuickBooks Premier going away? So we kind of covered that. Premier is not going away, but nobody will be selling new licenses of Premier Plus anymore after October 1st. Okay, can we get a copy of the slides? Yes. That is a good question, Cheryl. I'll make sure if you guys want to copy the slides, just you can ping it in here, and then I will make sure to get you guys a copy. Do you think this is 2024 is the last year for Pro Premier? Again, I think I mentioned that. I'm hopeful, and I hope you guys support that as well. The reason why I'm hopeful. But if anybody thinks I'm completely nuts for saying the consolidation of development, I would love it if the development teams would consolidate. I would love it if the QBO and desktop development teams would consolidate a little bit better because they really don't talk to each other. And I tend to be a go-between between them. Okay. Yeah, somebody was saying that it took them 6 hours. Oh, to update the latest release. Oof, that's not a good one. We do have a support team, just so you guys are aware. Fourlane has always historically said we are not going to charge or try to have a service for something that Intuit offers for free. But over the last several years, Intuit support has, I'll just say, changed a little bit. And so we have had the request from our clients. So we do have a support arm. It's pretty inexpensive. It's like, there's a couple different price levels. There's between $20 to, I think, $60 a month per licensed user, where people can call us instead of having to call Intuit. And people are jumping on it like hotcakes. So when you have, to do a release and it's starting to take you 6 hours, maybe you could submit a ticket and get one of our support reps on the phone with you to help you through what is going on, because that is not normal. I actually did it just the other day on my 24, and it was, I did have to restart, which took me a little bit of time, but are you using the same login, or do we have a separate login for CX? Yeah, CX has a separate login. You can have different permissions. The permission set is a little bit different over there. We do have to take the admins through that on setup, because you're logging in using an email address at that point, not like a desktop user login. And Intuit does not allow us access through the API or through the software development kit to the users at all. Yeah. Is CX only available in the Enterprise edition? So no, you could use it in other editions, but our customer base is mostly Enterprise, right? We've got thousands of QuickBooks Enterprise users, so that's where we focused most of our attention. I don't know. The back end is the same. The connection to QuickBooks is the same, so it should be the same. But I mean, I'm just prepping everybody. You probably are going to have to go to Enterprise in the next couple of years. That's just the nature of the beast. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions that I can answer quickly. Is Enterprise 24.0 available now? Yes, Ryan, that came out last September or October. It's been out for a little while. We do always recommend people have delays in installing, of course, when they do a new release, because usually there can be some problems. And then this one, there was a pretty big thing that we uncovered around QuickBooks crashing, or not QuickBooks, QuickBooks was crashing. I can't remember now. See, we fix these problems and we move on. QuickBooks or Outlook was crashing. We figured out it's like you have to go through a sequence of events when you go through installation of install this and then that, so that they will play nice together. We will reach out about the pricing of CX. Okay, pricing slides. Hey, Lori, it's so good to see your name. How do we get a problem? Okay, so this is all about slides. All right, guys. Well, it seems like I got through most of the questions here. Is CX included in Enterprise? No, it's an add-on on top of Enterprise. It is an add-on on top of Enterprise, but it was created around accessibility, right? That's the accessibility and speed. Most of our clients who have chosen, because that's the other painful one, is a lot of clients, they go to NetSuite, and then and when they go to NetSuite, the move back from NetSuite to QuickBooks is also quite painful. It's just similar to the one to QBO back to Enterprise is quite painful. And a lot of the reason why people leave is because of speed and accessibility. And so we wanted to have a solve for that. All right, I think that's all really the questions that I have. I'm here. You guys have my email address if you guys have anything that comes up. And as always, I hope that you guys will join us next quarter as well. I hope that you guys will join us next quarter as well, and I will keep you up to date on anything further that has changed that I can share with you. And then that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys took away some kind of learning, and definitely let me, oh, there's my email address. I know somebody had just asked for it. There's my email address if you guys have any questions, but definitely let me know if there's anything that we can do to help you out, and more than happy to hop on and show you how you can maybe improve, right, as the pricing goes up around QuickBooks, improve where your money spent is going. So we can help you out with that as well. All right, guys, we will see you in a couple months. Thank you.